Hey guys, this is Joel. Welcome to another episode. So, criminal record sealing or expungement. Why am I interested in this? Well, like many, and I mean many, other Americans, I've made mistakes. One of those mistakes was serious enough that it removed me from society for a few years. But I'll get into that time in my life in another video. It's not time for me to share that yet. Although if you want to hear the government side of it, not very accurate or honest side, you can Google it. I'm sure there's something out there. Oh, before I go any further, check out Consequential Gear in the links below. You'll get some quality stuff and you'll help make this channel bigger and better. So I recently watched this video from the News for Reasonable People channel. I'll link it below in case you want to watch it. In the video, Sean Reynolds, the host, talks about a new law in the state of California that will automatically seal criminal records of felons, aka people, who have completed their sentences. Now, I used to be a super hard-nosed law and order type of person. I used to say ignorance of the law is not an excuse, quoting Thomas Jefferson. Or if you're in prison, it's because you're guilty. But when I was on the other side of the justice system, I realized that things aren't as black and white as I thought. In fact, most things never are. Our justice system has turned into a monster that incarcerates more of its people than any other system in the world. I still believe that it's the best system, but you see, there's two different parts to our justice system. One is the one that our founders, like Thomas Jefferson, imagined. And the other is what politicians along with lobbyists and corporations have created. There are literally thousands of new laws created every year in the United States, and a lot of them can land you in prison if you break them. All these laws allow government bullies to abuse their power and in too many cases put otherwise innocent people who would never violate the law in prison or ruin their lives. See civil forfeiture. And while I'm on the subject of government bullies, check out the book entitled Government Bullies by Senator Rand Paul. I put a link to it below, and no, as of the time of this recording, I don't get any commission from Amazon if you buy it. My channel's too small. My point is that there are so many laws in this country that it's impossible to be aware of them all. Even judges don't know them all. I remember one time when I got a ticket for making an illegal turn. I knew that the officer was in the wrong, the turn wasn't illegal, so I fought the ticket. Months later, I go to court and the officer goes in front of the judge to recount the incident. He then decided to change the reason for the citation to something else. In fact, he did it a couple of times. I obviously was upset, but I bit my tongue. I noticed that the judge opened up this super thick book and started to look up the infractions the officer was referring to. Eventually, the judge heard enough and told the officer that since he couldn't make up his mind, he, the judge, was going to find me not guilty. The judge then proceeded to scold me and tell me that just because he found me not guilty, it didn't mean that what I did was safe. I hadn't done anything wrong, but since I had already won, I decided to keep my mouth shut. But you see, even the judge didn't know all the laws or regulations that the officer was referring to. You ever wonder why the government sometimes takes months or even years to bring charges in a case? Sometimes they're gathering evidence, but other times they're trying to find a violation of some law that they can charge you with. Because believe me, if you get on the wrong side of one of these government bullies, you can be sure that they're going to find some crime that they can charge you with. Just ask the people in Waco, Texas. The book I mentioned earlier from Senator Rand Paul also details a bunch of cases like these. Okay, I'm getting slightly off topic though. This video is about the sealing or expunging of criminal records. The difference between the sealing and expungement of a criminal record is that when a record is sealed, it still exists. It won't come up on a background check, but law enforcement in some cases can still see it. When a record is expunged, it's like it never happened, for the most part. So Sean from News for Reasonable People thinks that even though you've done your time, you should still suffer, that you should still be marked for life.
Hey, if you did it, that's what you get. It's like being branded for life. You should be, because whether or not you've did your sentence, you've, repented to society, you've made your payback, whether you've got all that going on or not, I know people deserve a second chance, but hey, you know what? You did get let out of jail, right? And that's why you're out running around free.
But you're not free. You may not be physically incarcerated anymore, but you're still in a box that will keep you from fully becoming an accepted member of society again. It's an emotional and psychological prison. Most people never plan on committing a crime, or as I said before, even know that they're committing a crime. I agree that there are definitely certain crimes that should never be forgotten, but the California law doesn't seal those records. And even that's not so black and white. For example, the drunk guy that took a pee in the bushes in a public parking lot at 2 a.m. and had to register as a sex offender for it. Yeah, that's happened. In order to truly give people a second chance, I believe that nonviolent criminal records should automatically be sealed at the state and federal level. In prison, I met many people who had simply made a mistake. They weren't evil people, and for the most part, they showed remorse for what they had done. I won't even get into the people that were railroaded into making a plea, but believe me, there's a lot of them. When my release date was coming up, I was excited to start over and be a better man than I had ever been. I was going to get back out there and not only be a model citizen, but an exemplary one. But then you go through over 30 interviews that you think went great, and then they run a background check, or they ask you if you've ever been convicted of a crime. Even rideshare companies close your account, even though you've given over 4,000 rides and have a 5-star rating. It makes you wonder if the recidivism rates are so high because people are bad, or maybe because our society isn't a very forgiving one. You see, the problem with some of my conservative friends is that they believe, as I did, that the laws and the justice system in our country are just. I wish they were. And if our justice system were perfect, and only actual criminals, as most reasonable people in our society would define them, were locked up, then yes, I might be more in agreement with Sean's take on the subject. Not surprisingly, law enforcement is against the sealing of records.
And law enforcement is unsurprisingly not at all happy with the new law. Well, I can imagine why. I mean, that's sealed from police? All right. To me, that's a hard no-go. The state's largest law enforcement union, the Peace Officers Research Association of California, said in a statement that by allowing violent criminals back on the street with their record dismissed, they will have less deterrent to commit another crime. Exactly.
No, the deterrent is going back to prison. They already have a criminal record, and most actual criminals don't care about finding a real job or becoming a respectable member of society. Having a criminal record only takes away opportunities for people to really rejoin society. Sean also goes into how the government is making it easier for people to commit crime and get away with it. For example, the California law that makes shoplifting less than $950 worth of stuff a misdemeanor. Here I agree. Theft is theft. But should we as a society spend thousands of dollars to lock people up? Why not actually make the punishment fit the crime? If someone steals $500 worth of stuff from Target, make them work it off. With interest, you have to work the necessary amount of hours to pay back double what you stole. And since California has a $13 minimum wage and Target, I believe, pays around $15 an hour, you'll target 500 hours of work. And at the end of it, maybe you've learned your lesson and become such a good employee that Target might let you keep your job. So now you've paid your debt and you have a job so that you don't have to shoplift anymore. Wouldn't most reasonable people be on board with that?
I can't imagine. I mean, if you are truly, truly repentant, you're going to figure out a way to make it work. You're going to hustle enough in the right direction where somebody is going to take a flyer on you. They're going to hire you. You're going to have proved to yourself how to get housing, that kind of stuff. If you're a slime ball and you're out reoffending and you just haven't gotten caught, you're going to get caught at some point in time. And those are the people, which I believe are far greater in numbers than people, really looking to turn it around. Because at the time of sentencing, everybody is a born-again Christian, aren't they?
That's because most people do genuinely want to turn their life around. But when they try, most of them keep smacking into the same mistake they made years ago. How can a wound truly heal if you keep tearing off the scab? Even God won't push you past your limits because he knows you'll break. Some people aren't as resilient as others, and it's those people that we need to do this for. I'm a very resilient person. I'm still here, I'm still trying, but even I considered suicide because I figured, what's the point? I'm never going to be able to shake my past. Even making this video might come at a cost. Sometimes we need a little empathy, and we need to view things from a different perspective.
If you've committed a crime, I say that follows you around because by sealing that off, you have taken a piece of your life that is an important indicator of maybe who you once were. Granted, maybe that's just who you used to be. That's fine. But you got to let other people decide and not just basically take that off your record and say, this guy's fine. He's never committed a crime in his life. Wink, 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 wink.
When you hire someone, or when you get a new job, do you say, or if you're the employee, do you hear, welcome, here's your employee ID, the company checkbook and credit card, and here's the code to the safe? No, you have to earn trust. You have to prove that you're a trustworthy person. Most people should get the chance to prove themselves without having the card stacked against them. In the rest of the video, Sean doubles down on his opinion that, as I perceive it to be, most people are bad and won't change. There's no easy fix to the problem of crime and over-incarceration in our country. But I think that taking a closer look at why we incarcerate so many of our fellow citizens will steer us in the right direction. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time to view this video. If you liked it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really means a lot to me. Until next time, have a productive and successful day. I'll see you on the next video.